The lancehead is a formidable snake, as dangerous as anything I've ever faced. But usually they're only 3 or 4 feet long. Imagine if I could find a lancehead over twice that size. What would I be faced with then? Ever since I can remember, I've been interested in dangerous and exotic wildlife. But for the past 10 years or so, I've earned my living from photography. Traveling from my home in southern Africa to the ends of the earth to photograph some of the rarest and deadliest creatures in the world. I'm a wildlife photographer and I specialize in snakes. And I travel to all kinds of exotic locations looking for some of the most deadly, dangerous, and sometimes the most beautiful snakes. And every now and then a really tricky assignment comes up, and this assignment is one of those. This is Costa Rica, a Central American paradise that is teeming with wildlife. There's about 140 species of snake in this jungle, and at least 18 of them are potentially venomous enough to kill me. But legend has it that these forests are also home to the ultimate pit viper, the giant lancehead. The lancehead is the most dangerous snake in the whole of South and Central America. It's bigger than any other viper. It's faster than any other viper. And it injects more venom than any other viper. My mission? To try and photograph one of these giants in the wild. The problem is getting to them. Costa Rica is a long, narrow country, sandwiched between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. The country is mainly coastline, but a densely forested mountain range runs down its center like a backbone. That's where I expect the giant lanceheads to be. But I must begin my journey on a remote stretch of shoreline on Costa Rica's west coast. Here, far away from people, where the jungle meets the sea, I've got a chance of finding my way into lancehead country. These will be the last people I see for at least a month. I've got to travel as far away from civilization as I can. Away from houses, farming, and deforestation, into pristine jungle and the habitat of one very deadly snake. Well, the best chance I've got of actually finding a really big lancehead viper is to travel to an area that is completely remote, somewhere where possibly no humans have been before. And that's what I'm looking at here. From all the areas I've checked, this looks the best. Really heavy, impenetrable jungle. The problem with that, of course, is how do you penetrate impenetrable jungle? And I think I found the answer. I've got to find a river and go inland. Hundreds of rivers flow off the mountains, through these forests and down to the sea. But I need one that's big enough and long enough to take me deep into lancehead country. If I can find the mouth of such a river, then I can use the watercourse as a road straight into the forest. But very quickly, I get distracted.
Oh man, it's a creeper. And you can see what sort of size they can attain.
And I believe they get even bigger, up to 10 foot or longer sometimes. It's actually closely related to the indigo snake of North America. And if you look at his tail here, you can actually see some indigo on him. Beautiful, sort of blacky, bluey color. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. And the scales, look how each scale, big and shiny, and it's got a black tip around each edge of the scale. See, each scale is tipped in black. Absolutely gorgeous, reflects the light, shines in the sun. Magnificent. An easy way to identify him, have a look at the black stripe coming from the eye, just behind the eye, whole lot under the chin. They'll eat anything. This guy even eats venomous snakes. Probably tackle something like the lancet viper that I'm looking for and eat it down with no problem at all. Powerful. They kill not by constriction, just by brute force. They just go for it and they keep chewing and they swallow it down. And they've even been known to swallow turtles. Shell and all, they swallow the thing down. Incredibly powerful snakes. I'm actually surprised to find this guy so close to the beach over here, because it's a forest dwelling snake. But again, this forest comes right down onto the beach, so I guess it's quite normal. I can let go now. He seems to have calmed down. He's not too mad at me. Sometimes they puff up the chin just a little bit, and he was on his way somewhere, so I'm just going to release him again. You ready, boy? Off you go. Off you go. There we go. And I'll just let him go. Fantastic. Costa Rica is full of amazing creatures like that. There are more species here than in the whole of North America. But to locate them, I really need to get inland. Unfortunately, there were only a few places on this coast safe enough for my boat to land. I may have to walk miles before I find a river large enough to transport me straight into the heart of the jungle. Until then, I just have to keep searching. The promise of the biggest pit viper I might ever see keeps me pressing on. But the next snake I find is something altogether smaller. Look at this. This is a fascinating snake. This is a sea snake. I'd better help this little guy, because he really shouldn't be here. On land, he's very awkward. He really battles to move. Has no traction whatsoever. But put him in the water and he's like an eel, gone like a shot. Come on, my boy. Oh, there we go. Oh, he's been a bit nervy. There we go. There we go. Got to be very careful. Has very, very tiny fangs right in the front of the mouth. Highly, highly toxic. Definitely can kill a human being, although the venom is actually specifically described to kill fish. You can imagine this guy eating fish in the ocean, bites the fish could swim away very quickly. So the venom is extremely toxic to fish and the fish dies very quickly, and that's how they survive. Now what you must have a look as well, you see normal snake, round, smooth body. This guy actually feels like a file. It's actually got a very rough body. But look at the tail shape, look at the body shape. It's flattened. It's completely flattened, see that? Designed for swimming. Look at that tail, pretty tail. Rudder-like tail, see that? The fangs are also very small. You can actually see little teeth there now, but the fangs are no bigger than the teeth. They look just like the teeth. All right, so the best thing I can do is let this guy go back into the sea where he'll be safe. The yellow-bellied sea snake lives all its life in the sea, traveling on the ocean currents. This guy was just stranded by the tide. There are about 50 species of sea snake, and all of them must come to the surface to breathe, but they don't like to be out of the water too long. This little guy should be safe now. Well, it's taken a while, but I finally found a river that leads me into this forest. It's going to be quite difficult going because obviously I have to paddle upstream, but it's the only way to get in, so I'm going to start tackling that tomorrow. It's too late in the day now, so I'm going to relax, pack my camp, and get ready for the morning. 2 snakes on the first day is a good start. I lie in my hammock and enjoy the sunset for what could be the last time. Because tomorrow, my search for the world's ultimate pit viper begins for real. I'm on a mission to find the giant lancehead viper, one of the most dangerous snakes in the world. The really big lanceheads I'm hoping to photograph live deep in the rainforest. So to penetrate the dense jungle that is their home, I've decided to go by canoe, paddling upstream on one of the many rivers that flow from Costa Rica's mountainous forests. Few people venture there. That's why these giant snakes survive. But it also means it's easy for me to get lost. As I begin my journey, I'm not even sure I'm on the right river. It's going to be tough. I'll be paddling against the current all the way. But if it takes me to the lanceheads, it'll be worth every aching muscle. By my calculations, this river should be the Rio Claro. And if the maps are right, it should get me to the heart of the jungle in just a few days. Deep inside the forest for the first time, all I can see is a solid wall of vegetation. I was hoping to see more wildlife. Lanceheads prey on small animals like lizards, frogs, and birds. If there aren't any prey species around, then I'm not likely to find any snakes. I have to keep my eyes peeled. I spotted something there. I'm not quite sure, but I suspect it might be interesting. Just come with, come with. I'm taking my tweezers. I know what this is. They're good for handling smaller venomous snakes carefully and safely. Oh man, oh look at this. Just look at this. Just look at this. It's an eyelash viper, but he's got himself really tangled up here. He's not over aggressive, he's just being very careful. Oh, here he comes. These are prehensile guys, so they cling like mad. So the thing is to get to his tail without him getting to me first. If I can get hold of the tail, excluding his head. Yeah, there we go. I got him. That is a golden eyelash viper. Man, I've only read about these, heard about them, seen a picture or two. I've always dreamt of one day photographing one of these guys. Just keep his head right away from me. Unbelievable color. Look at that color. This is something, oh man, this is unbelievable. I've never thought I'd actually find one of these in the wild. What I've got to do is take him to a lit place where there's a bit of sunshine to actually reflect that golden color. Let me just take him out. The eyelash vipers are closely related to lanceheads. They are both ambush predators, hiding in the vegetation and striking out at prey to inject a lethal dose of venom. They are both ruthlessly efficient hunters. The eyelash viper likes the same type of habitat as the lancehead, so finding the snake may be a good omen. But first, I need to do some photography. Got pretty big fangs, these guys. You've got to be careful not to get bitten by them. All right, let's see if I get one really close. Oh, hey. You see, for a little snake, he's pretty fast. Now I'm getting those eyelashes sticking out right into the light like that. Isn't that fabulous? And look at the tongue, pink tongue flicking at me. That's the kind of photography I like to get. Yeah, that makes me feel better. Now that makes me feel better. Let me see if I can get really close. Oh, I can actually see his tongue right in there. Isn't that amazing? Ah. And there he goes. Well, I spotted him so easily from the river because of this yellow color in these green leaves. But the lancehead viper that I'm looking for might be a different ball game. Very much more camouflage, living on the forest floor, brown in color, exactly the same as the leafy floor. So I'd be very lucky if I was as lucky as I was with this guy. Oh, okay, that's the last one, I promise. Goodbye. Thank you very much. That was very nice photography. I'm very pleased about that. I'm getting really deep into the forest now. Surely this is prime lancehead territory. All the signs are good. It's the right surroundings. There's no humans for miles around, and I'm starting to spot prey species. Yet you can't underestimate just how hard it is to find a snake that doesn't want to be found. This is where my tongs come in really handy. If I do find a lancehead, they'll enable me to handle it firmly but gently, keeping us both safe. With such a well-camouflaged species, caution is of the essence. This is an ambush predator, remember, and just a couple of drops of its venom would be enough to kill me. Nothing. But I'll find one. I'm not prepared to turn back until I do. I'm traveling deep into the Costa Rican jungle. My mission is to find the lancehead viper, the most aggressive, the most deadly, the most voracious snake in Central America. But something's wrong. I don't think I'm on the right river. If this is the Rio Claro, it should be heading south. It should skirt around the mountains. Instead, I'm heading north, and I'm so far off the beaten path that my maps are useless. Truth be told, I'm not exactly sure where I am. I decide the only way forward is to head for land and try and get my bearings. Or better still, find a river that will take me south. Oh man, I seem to be going the wrong direction. I just don't know how that's possible. I thought I had it all worked out. I've got this feeling that I'm completely off track here. I thought I'd just get to shore, get myself back into the jungle, and have a bit of an explore. That way I can find out exactly where I am. It's an uneasy feeling. The forest is crisscrossed by rivers and streams, but so far none of them are big enough for the canoe. Dangerously, I stray further and further afield. On most missions, it's the snake that poses the greatest threat, but I'm beginning to wonder if I'll end my days here without ever seeing one of these beautiful serpents. Nevertheless, I continue to look. Here's a very good area where you might find a snake like a lancehead viper hiding, especially in this leafy litter. That's half the problem with these snakes. You know, they're so well camouflaged and they lie under the leaf. People coming along, especially rurals with no shoes on, might not see the snake, step on it and whap, very fast striker. Usually people get bitten around about the ankle area. So you've got to be very careful of that. And of course the fangs are very, very large. They've got large fangs and they deliver a tremendous amount of venom. It's a very, very dangerous snake. In all of Latin America, these snakes cause more bites than any other snake and more deaths at the same time. I think if you get bitten by a snake like this, just one drop of this venom into your system would actually be enough to kill an adult human being. Oh yeah. Oh, look at this. It's a big viper. Oh yeah. Oh, look at that mouth. You see that mouth agape? Oh, I know what this is. I know exactly what this is. This is a jumping viper. Look at that mouth. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at that pure, pure cotton white mouth. You see, with the shorter the snake, the more difficult it is to grab him because he can get you that much easier. And these guys are fast strikers. It's okay, I'm not going to hurt you. Oh no, look at that. Look what he's done. Can you see that? I mean, no snake does this. Snakes bite and they release immediately, especially these vipers. He's bitten into the bark. Look at the venom cruising down the bark here. Can you see that? The bulldog of the snake world. Oh, he's let go. Thank goodness. I was a bit worried about it. I thought maybe he breaks a fang or something. Hey, come on, boy. I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to look at you. Okay. Okay, I've got him. I've got to be very, very careful. These guys are renowned for biting and holding on. Most vipers bite and release immediately. These guys hold on. Look at this. He bit into the leaf and he's holding on that leaf and he's not letting go. It might have been a rat, it might have been a mouse, it might have been my finger. They've got keel scales, which means that each scale has got a ridge running down the center.